Welcome to the Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts. We are your international headquarters for resources and ideas and insight in relation to the 9 elements of holistic wellness. Join us as we interview local and international wellness experts and learn how you can implement and improve one element or dimension of wellness at a time. Our experts will share their practical tips on wellness in one of these core areas: emotional, intellectual, occupational, physical, environmental, financial, spiritual, social, or habitual. We created our family of podcasts as a resource for anyone who is looking to integrate the 9 elements of holistic wellness into their daily lives. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Cash Flow Club. Today, we're talking about the importance of systemizing our inbound cash flow. And all that means is really knowing with absolute certainty that we've removed as much friction as possible so that cash can come into our business. And that is going to require some internal systems and processes as well as some technology. So the number one thing we talked about so far is getting paid for the work that you do. And I want you to understand the difference in impact on a business by having cash today versus having cash sometime in the future. So as an example, I talked previously about a client that grew from about 150,000 a year to about 3 million in revenues over about 2 year period. And they did it because instead of collecting their cash in 3 to 6 months, they were collecting it today. And what that means, and just simply put, if you're lending money to your customers, if you're letting them purchase from you on credit, you're financing them. And if you're not charging them interest or finance charges, you're effectively financing them for free. So they're always going to pay you last because they're going to pay their high interest bills first. The other thing is you're financing your company through your own sweat and equity. So if you're putting in cash, you're injecting your own cash into the business, you are doing that and you're going to have to do that because you're going to have to pay your bills today and you get paid for the work from those bills down the road. So as an example, if you have an electrical company, you're going to have materials for jobs that, let's say you go out on a job and you rewire a house. You have to buy those materials up front. Now, maybe you buy them on credit. Usually, credit is 30 days. So, if you buy it on the beginning of the month, the first of the month, you have to pay it by the end of the month. You're going to have to hire maybe some staff, some electricians to go out and do the work. That's payroll you're going to have to pay, whatever frequency you pay. But if you think about it, you've got money going out, money going out. And if the person who is paying you for the work, your customer, pays you in 6 months' time, you've effectively borrowed to pay for your business. You're going to pay borrowing costs and you're lending them money interest free. So the dollar you're billing them, for every dollar you're billing them, you're actually not making a dollar. You're making something less than because you're financing. And I see a lot of small businesses, they'll use their credit cards to pay for materials and then they pay credit card interest. Even at 10%, the dollar you're earning, you're only keeping 90 cents right out of the gate because you've paid interest. And again, the numbers aren't exact. There's compounding and things like that, but just keep the math simple. If you're lending your customers money and you're borrowing to pay for goods and services and labor, you're always going to be against the 8 ball. You're going to be struggling. So we want to systemize, and there's some amazing tools. But the key is think about ways, and this is something we do inside Cash Flow Club. We're going to brainstorm how can we get paid faster and how can we systemize it. And the number one challenge I see, a lot of trades, for example, they have manual processes where they write things out. They eventually mail invoices after the fact. How could you systemize it to get paid earlier? Now, this is where we get into the technology. So we're going to have internal systems. We're going to figure out how do we get paid earlier? How do we get paid more? How do we add value? The big thing is what's the technology we need to support that? So there are all kinds of amazing things, and I'm just going to say that systems are everything. You can look at tools like FreshBooks, Zero, QuickBooks Online. They're really great tools for sending invoices and getting paid. And the reality is, why couldn't you charge a retainer up front? Why couldn't you charge at the moment the service is done rather than mailing out an invoice? I hope nobody does that anymore, because then you're waiting for the mail and things like that. At worst, your invoices should be emailed the second the project is done or the work is done and sent to the person, with terms as to when they have to pay by, how much interest they'll pay if they don't pay. You want it to be easier to pay you than not. So we, as a business, our job is to remove all friction from getting paid. I had one client who joked, "I'll take Bitcoin if it means I get paid today rather than tomorrow." Now, think about the ways people will pay. In Canada, we have Interac e-transfers. In the US, you have different systems. Find ways to get paid quickly. And by the way, in the US, you have something called bills.com. You can get paid very quickly through their system. Find a system. And my favorite, by the way, I use a product called Simplero. It is my website. It's an online business in one place. And the amazing thing about Simplero is people click pay and it processes the credit card. Now, one thing I want to mention, I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I want to take debit or I want to take cash. I don't like credit card because I lose out." The reality is, again, credit card processing fees might be 2, 3%, but it's the difference between getting paid today and maybe paid a month from now, 2 months, 3 months. That 2% is a minor inconvenience to you. It's not a game changer. But getting that cash in today is a game changer. So don't think about the 2% you're spending, think about the 98% you're getting. So that's my little rant about credit card processing. And by the way, there are some great companies out there that will help you negotiate with your credit card company so that you're paying a reasonable rate. But find ways to add value to your customers, and then you won't have to worry about the 2% processing fee. I've seen businesses that added value to their existing clients, increasing their revenue just from existing clients 20, 30%. Again, the key is adding value, and that more than offsets your credit card processing. So have the internal systems and processes to make sure you get paid on time, and have the technology processes to facilitate that. So as a business owner, your number one job is to absorb the complexity and make it easy for people to pay you. So always ask yourself, is it easy for people to pay me? And the symptoms are customers are paying you late, customers are complaining about how hard it is to pay you. If they have to mail a check on a blue moon on a third Tuesday of every month, that's complicated. You want to make it super easy. And that's where something like Simplero or QuickBooks Online or Zero or FreshBooks comes in. There's a quick little click of a button, paid. There's also tools, it used to be called Practice Ignition. I think it's just called Ignition. Its sweet spot is for professional services firms, specifically accountants, helps them get paid quickly. So if you are doing old school shoebox accounting where you take your books and records to your accountant once a month or once a year, or your bookkeeper, you're not going to be on top of it, you're not going to be able to get paid consistently. So systemize your inbound cash flow. Thank you.